So I haven't played Pokemon Infinite Fusions and I wanted to try it out while putting my own little twist on it. I've seen a lot of people play Pokemon Infinite Fusions, haven't really watched a whole lot of gameplay, but I've seen a lot of fusions, which is why I want to try it out and play. I wanted my first ever run of the game to be something unique. I've seen a lot of people do a single type, single Pokemon, or even based on some sort of concept. So I thought to myself, why not make it something random? I used a number gen to see what 6 Pokemon I would use in this run. Also, I'll be turning on a randomizer on all wild Pokemon. Trainers and gym leaders will be the same, starters will be randomized since I want a chance to be able to start with one of the 6 I can use. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have the time, and I'll make a part 2 with the Johto side of things, since this video is only up to the champion of Kanto. The Pokemon we got from the number gen was Axew, Ariados, Suicune, Sandshrew, Shedinja, and Hoppip. With that, let's get started. We start our journey off just like any other. We talk to our mom, and we leave the house. As soon as we're about to enter the tall grass, we're stopped by Professor Oak, who takes us to his lab, and gives us a choice of our first ever Pokemon on this run. I thought it was going to take at least a few 20-odd tries before I even get any of the 6 that's supposed to be on the team, since there are over 150,000 sprites. But to my surprise, the one I thought would be the least likely turns out to be the first on our team. And on the first try of all things, which is pretty lucky. Hopefully we could keep that luck throughout the whole run. But the real question is now, what do you name such a majestic creature? Sea Salt. So we pick up our Sea Salt and our rival picks up a Mudkip Doggo fusion, which then we battle with. He uses Dragon Breath, which apparently has a 30% chance to paralyze, and the only damaging move I have being Absorb. Things didn't turn out too well. I Thunder Waved him to make it even or somewhat even have a chance, but sometimes things don't work out. You win some, you lose some, but for me, that some will only be this one. So he leaves after his win, and the professor tasks us to go get a package for him in Viridian City, which is what we do next. It took some time to get there because of the Hoot Hoot Rhyhorn fusions in the tall grass with their attacking moves, which I blame everything on Absorb. After a few deaths, we finally make it to Viridian City. We pick up the package, I go back to Oak, give him the package, and in return he gives us some Pokeballs and a Pokedex. We go back to Viridian City, this time with less deaths, and enter the Viridian Forest, which I finally get something to deal damage with. The forest was pretty easy after learning Bubble Beam, since everything else just died on our path after that. We make it to Pewter City, I heal back up and enter the forest. I catch a few Pokemon in the forest when, lucky me, I found an Axew Totodile fusion. With this luck, maybe catching the others won't be that bad, but I didn't have any Pokeballs since I used all 5 that Oak gave me to catch a Pokemon from earlier. So I went to the Pokemart to sell all my belongings to buy some Pokeballs. When I entered the Pokemart, there was a package for me. In it was an Arceus and Ralts fusion, which I'll probably use for later. I spent an hour trying to find it again, when finally I found my lost love again, caught it without letting go, and named no marbles. I went to the Pokemon Center and I fused Suicune and Zoroark, then went back into the forest to level up our team to double digits, since I want to keep my level near to what the gym leader's level is. The first gym leader, Brock, the rock type gym leader, he sends out a Geo-Igi, which gets taken out in one hit. Then a Digix, which is just as easy, since when I was fighting the trainers inside the gym, Marbles learned Dragon Rage, which pretty much wiped the floor against everything else in the gym. So we beat him and Brock gives us his rock hard boulder badge, and a Wonder Trade ticket. We walk left towards Mount Moon where there appears to be some trouble. There's a group of thugs attacking other trainers, and we're tasked by Brock to go check it out, while he helps out an injured Geodude. We enter Mount Moon and we hear some gossip about a project going on in the deeper parts of the cave that can make their organization invincible. Since I couldn't go anywhere else, I went back to Brock to tell him what happened, and we learned that it's Team Rocket from the description that we gave. So Brock gives us Rock Smash to investigate further, since there's rocks blocking our path. Before investigating, I want to level up a little bit just in case. Marbles evolved, and I caught Carbon the Shedinja and fused it with Arceus to make it a Dark Weakness Wonder Guard. Leveled Carbon up to 13, and then we went after Team Rocket. As we slowly descend down the cave, we fight Team Rocket grunts and meet at the bottom of the cave, where they put 3 Pokemon on a machine that uses Moonstones to power it. We fight the scientist, beat him, and Team Rocket runs away. We pick up a Dome Fossil and exit through the other side of the cave. We make it to Cerulean City, we fight our rival, and the battle was close. We were trading Pokemon one after another, but Sea Salt was able to take out the last 2. We entered the Cascade Gym, beat Misty with Carbon since they couldn't hit him. Sorry about the footage of the gym, that part got corrupted. I then went back to all the places we previously visited to get more Pokemon for our arsenal. I also realized how dumb I was and that I was constantly killing one of the 6 supposed to be on our team. and I didn't notice till I was catching everything. I probably killed at least 7 Sandslash Piloswine fusions and not thinking anything of it till I was catching everything in my path. So I caught Sandslash, fused it with an Electivire, and called him Bergona. I did the Nugget Bridge Challenge, got the Nugget at the end of it, caught this Cerulean Cape where this guy tried to fuse himself with a Rhydon. My first thoughts are, why a Rhydon? And secondly, why? If I were to fuse myself with a Pokemon, I would probably do something that can fly, but without the flying type on it. Since there are Pokemon that can fly, that don't have the flying type, such as Flygon, which I wouldn't mind being fused to if I had to. Also, in the comments, write down what Pokemon you want to be fused with. But again, why a Rhydon? Well, I helped him after questioning him, and in return he gives us an SSN ticket. We went back to the city, went south, where I caught this beauty, because every Darkrai fusion I've seen looked pretty cool. So I got 2 just in case, and we entered Vermilion City, where I grabbed this guy's old rod for free. I then went fishing for a bit, caught a Glaceon Magcargo fusion, and thought I should change up the team a little bit. So I fused a Glaceon with Sea Salt, and I fused Carbon with a Lucario for a Fire Weakness, Poison, and Sandstorm immunity. But I had to level up the team again since everyone's level went down with the fusion. I caught a weird looking shiny Groudon and fused it with Marbles, then we went on the SSN. In the SSN, we just started breaking into people's room, fighting them, and then robbing them, even if they spent everything on this trip. I met the scientist from Mount Moon, beat him again, and took one of his fossils. Then went on the deck to find the captain's key, fought our rival. The battle was pretty easy since everything just died to marbles. And our rival tells us about a cut master on the ship. We enter the captain's room using the key, and us, a 10-year-old, gives a random 60-year-old man a back rub in his private room with no cameras. And he gives us cut. If Chris Swenson was here, he would have had a field day with this. So, we get cut and we're able to enter the Vermilion Gym. Then the so-called puzzle, which I didn't understand but somehow solved it, and we start the battle against Surge. We powered up Carbon with Swords Dance since he didn't have any Pokemon with Fire-type moves to hit us with. We beat Surge and he gave us a Thunder Badge. We go back to Cerulean to go through the rock tunnel and we gain some Pokemon along the way. We enter the rock tunnel cave and after spending around 10 minutes in the whole thing fighting trainers and not knowing where to go, we make it out with the skins of our teeth and enter Lavender Town. We enter the tower and try going up it to see what's up, where our rival wants to fight us. Which I don't think is morally right, cause you have people crying and mourning for the deaths of their family and Pokemon on the floor below, while he enjoys fighting us. And I'm just out here lava pluming and dragon clawing his whole team out of existence. They should have opened up a few more graves for his team after getting murdered in that battle. When the battle ended, Team Rocket was seen bullying this man basically on his deathbed in the tower, which is kinda fitting, cause if anything were to happen, they can actually just toss his body behind one of the graves. They take him upstairs to interrogate him, and our rival tells us that Team Rocket is in Celadon and that we need the Silph Scope to get up to the higher floors of the tower, since there are ghosts that don't like you progress up the tower without the scope. So we leave the tower and start our march to Celadon. We find a plethora of trainers that for some reason are all just standing in a line, and we make it to Celadon. I found another of the 6 through a Team Rocket stolen goods shop, but it could just be a regular goods shop. I don't think that they really got these Pokemon through legal means, but I may just be judging a book by its cover, which they can probably turn into a Darman video. Team Rocket Grunt gets discriminated against by what team he represents. I talked to Erica about what's happening with Mr. Fuji, and we enter the sewer. Spider Jr. levels up to Ariados, but I can't fuse it with anything since it's technically a trade Pokemon. I fought everyone in the sewers and finally made it to the sewer base. We go through all the track floors or floor escalators, I'm not sure what it's called, but we made it to the end where we see that Erica lost to Giovanni and now it's our turn to fight him. It was a tough battle. Both sides lost a few, but we beat them and we get the Silph Scope on the table. We leave the sewer and we enter Erica's gym, where we beat her with Carbon, just like how we did the last gym, since nothing can hit Carbon. After beating Erica, we then go to the Pokemon Tower with the Silph Scope. We enter the tower and go to the higher floors that were blocked before by using the Silph Scope. For some reason, all the ghosts were girls that were possessed by ghosts. So we make our way to the top, which took longer than I expected, and we talk to Mr. Fuji, who tells us that Team Rocket got what they needed, which was the plans for the Master Ball. He gives us a Pokeflute and tells us to stop them. So we make our way down the tower and we go south of Lavender Town, where there is a sleeping Snorlax blocking our way. We use the Pokeflute to wake him up and battle him. After beating him, we talk to Koga's daughter and moseyed our way down. Marbles finally evolved into a cool fusion, and I can't wait to see his final form. We make it to Fuchsia Village, where I get the XP all and go to the gym. I did the invisible maze and made it to Koga. 3 of his 4 Pokemon were weak to fire, so Marbles did his thing, and his last one was weak to ground, so a single Earthquake was all we needed before we got Koga's badge. With the Safari Zone also being in the city, I decided to check it out to see if I can get anything there. I spent 2 hours looking and found Dilly Squat, so I decided to leave Fuchsia. I went to the connector, I don't know what it's called, maybe a checkpoint area, but the guy working there says I need a bike to continue. So I went back to Cerulean to get a bike, used the voucher I got, and started to go through the bike path. But it turns out it was just a waste of time. I thought it would bring me to a new place to continue the story, but it turns out it just brought me to Celadon. But then I found out later that I can finally go to Saffron City. So I went back to Cerulean to go to the connector and fought a Team Rocket member who was asking for 100 grand to enter the city. I beat him and finally entered the city. I then go to the dojo, beat everyone there, and I picked up a Scizor fusion. I then stood in front of the main building of the city, the Silphco headquarters, for a dramatic effect. We enter the Silphco building where Team Rocket has taken over. We fight multiple grunts on every floor, and our Marble is evolved into his final form, which I was confused about because I thought Haxorus evolved in the 55 to 50 range and not 48. But this isn't a bad thing because I got to see this demon earlier than I thought, which I like because they used a Mega form and not a normal one. After spending a good 30 minutes revisiting every floor and teleporter, I find the right teleporter, and as we're about to enter the room where Giovanni has the Silphco president held hostage, our rival thinks it's the best time to fight to see if we're ready. So he fights us in front of Giovanni while he has the whole building under hostage, and we start the battle with Social. He takes out the Nido Yacht, I switch to Bergona, which takes out the next 3 Pokemon, his Nido Yacht, his starter, and a Tauros. But being weakened by all 3, he loses to the Electrodos, but Marbles was able to take it out, plus a Stardabra. We walk in, I talk to one of the grunts, and the Giovanni battle starts. It's us and our rival versus Giovanni. He sends out a Primate Rhyhorn fusion against Social and the Nido Yacht. They both get taken out, but after the switch to Marbles and our rival starter, Giovanni has no chance. Since I would use Precipice Blade, I think that's your pronounce that, which takes out one of his Pokemon and deals high enough damage to where our rival can take out the other one. So we beat Giovanni, Team Rocket leaves, and the Silphco president gives us a choice of a Pokemon. I choose a Bagon Baneri, for reasons I will not say, and left his office. I went to the area where they were producing the Master Balls and got the 4th Master Ball that was produced, since the whole point of why they had the Silphco building under hostage was to make Master Balls. After the whole debacle at Silphco, the gym was finally open and that's what we did. And you can bet I hated the sight of teleporters after the whole Silphco thing, spending half an hour finding the right teleporter that brings us to the top. But luckily it wasn't that bad. We make it to Sabrina, I start with Marbles, and I set up a double Swords Dance. I was able to get rid of 3 of her 4 Pokemon, but she takes out Marbles and Bergona with her Ganga Kazam. But Sea Salt was able to finish the job, and we got ourselves a Marsh Badge and Surf. With Surf, I checked out other stuff that I couldn't check before and went to Crimson City, but there really was nothing there. So I started to go to Cinnabar, and when I made it there, I went a little bit down to where I guess the docks are, and that's when I saw Team Rocket members harassing this guy, and they just straight up steal his boat. Professor comes out of nowhere and tells us that they're going to Mount Ember to get Moltres, and that we need to stop them. We surf between the rough currents, and we make it to Mount Ember, where we fight grunts along the way, and we catch a glimpse of what Team Rocket is doing. We make it to the end of the cave, where we meet Giovanni, where he has fused all 3 legendary birds together. My plan for the birds is pretty simple. Aim for Moltres with the first few Pokemon. When he's dead, switch to Carbon, Triple Swords Dance, or Double Swords Dance. And there really should be no trouble at all, since Zapdos and Arcudo don't have any Fire-type moves to go past the Wonder Guard. After we beat the so-called ultimate Pokemon, Team Rocket just left. We pick a fight with Moltres, catch him, and we leave the cave. As we leave the cave, a scientist gives us the Power Plant key card and a pickaxe that helps us catch Zapdos and Articuno. We go back to Cinnabar, enter the Pokemon Mansion since the gym is still locked, and apparently Blaine, the gym leader, is in there. So we start looking for Blaine, and we find him in the basement where he's just chilling, and he tells us that the Mewtwo experiments took place here. He goes back to the gym, we challenge him, and everything just gets taken out by Marbles. We go to Viridian City, because that's where the last gym is, and it's finally open. But for some reason, you have people employed that are willing to work for Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket, who is also the gym leader. Also, how is he the gym leader? Didn't anyone run a background check on him, or see that he wasn't at the gym and he's working on Team Rocket stuff? So we go up to him and fight him for probably the last time. We start the battle off with Marbles while he sends out a Rhyperior. He does heavy damage to us, but Marble ultimately takes him out. He then sets out a Tyranitar, which takes down Marbles. We send out Sea Salt, which gets the Tyranitar in the red. I then decide to pull out Carbon, Triple Swords Dance, and just Bone Rush one-shot his whole team. Technically, Bone Rush is a move that hits multiple times. So yeah, technically, I one-shotted his whole team, and we get the Earth Badge. And for some reason, after slapping him silly at its own gym, he decides to quit Team Rocket and work for the good of researching Pokemon. I think at this point, he actually had a psychotic breakdown and realized if a 10-year-old who got his first Pokemon less than 24 hours ago managed to beat him and his organization multiple times, got every gym badge, defeated a combination of the 3 legendary birds of the region that form the ultimate Pokemon, there's no point in doing anything. Also, one thing I don't get, we didn't know he was a gym leader till the end, but I'm guessing other gym leaders know each other, right? So when we were fighting with Erica against him, couldn't she have told the other gym leaders or the Elite Four that the Viridian City gym leader is also the mob boss of Pokemon? Or just boot him from being a gym leader? Because apparently the process of choosing someone for the role of being a gym leader is like this. So the league picks someone strong, and that person has to fight a person, I'm guessing from someone the league chooses, and they have to fight that person, defeat them without letting a single Pokemon faint. If they do, they're the next gym leader. With succession, it's like the gym leader can have like a criteria of who they want as the next gym leader, but I think ultimately it's the league that chooses. Take it in how there's no background check or even a check right now in the present times. So with all 8 gym badges, we make our way towards the league where we're stopped by a rival who wants to battle us. We send out Fodder and then switch into Carbon, Double Swords Dance, Phantom Force his first Pokemon, Bone Rush the next 4, Phantom Force the last. We enter the building, show our badges, and the guard lets us enter Route 26. Also, the reason for the name change is because he did virtually no damage and got almost one-shotted by everything, so it sounded like a fitting name for him. On Route 22, 23-ish I think, I found the final additions to our team, a Hop-Up, and right after I found a Spinarak in the same route. So I get rid of Fodder, fuse him with a Mewtwo, and fuse the Jump Puff with the Bagon to get the Salamence, and I named them Lamp and Mattress. We made our way through Victory Road, and it took longer than it probably should have, but we made it to the Indigo Plateau. We got everything ready for the Pokemon League challenge, but everyone's level was a little bit higher than what I wanted. Cause I tried to level up the 2 newest additions on the team, but they were actual garbage to where I couldn't take anything on just with them, so I had to use the others, which leveled up everyone in return. The first of the final obstacles on our journey was the ice member, Lorelei. I chose Regona at the start since Earthquake and Thunderbolt if they had any water mixes on the team. She sends out a Magmortar which gets taken out in one Earthquake, then she sends out a Tentacruel. I used Thunderbolt which almost one-shots it, so I thought I should use Swift since I want to save as much PP as I can since I don't know what I might need it for. But she decided to full restore, so one more Thunderbolt was able to do the job. Her next Pokemon was Mamoswine. I was alternating between Fire Punches and Thunderbolts while she was deciding to use full restores. At the end of the fight, I was left on 2 HP, but I was still able to take out the Mamoswine. Her next Pokemon, Jinx, was gone by 1 Fire Punch. I couldn't really say anything else. But her Lapras is what gets me. I send out Lamp, and he ends it with 2 Flamethrowers. That's the first member down. The next member is Bruno, the fighting member. I know he's fighting, but I thought since he has Love in his room, he might have Fire Fusions, so that's why I started with Sea Salt. The first Pokemon is Machamp, so I just spammed extra sentries, while he was just spamming 4 stores. His second Pokemon, Hitmonchan, gets taken out in 1 extra sensory. His third one, Steelix, takes down Sea Salt, but Sea Salt gets him down to half. I then switch into Lamp, and I made 2 dumb mistakes. 1 used Giga Drain, and then 2 used Zen Headbutt, instead of using a Fire type move on something literally made out of metal. His next Pokemon was the Pre-Evolution, which was Onix. I used Flamethrower, which burns, and then Giga Drain, which does a lot of damage. He paralyzes me, but the burn was able to take him out. I switched to Mattress since Lamp is paralyzed, and he sends out his final or ace, being Heracross, which gets taken out in 2 Psychics. The next member is Agatha, who gets taken out by a Triple Swords Dance, Carbon, with Phantom Force and Bone Rush. I can't say much else, since I want to use at least Carbon once to wipe out a whole Elite Four member. The last member of the Elite Four, the Dragon Master, Lance. I throw at Sea Salt since he has Blizzard, and Lance's first 2 Pokemon gets taken out by Blizzard. But his third Pokemon, his Aerodactyl, outspeeds and takes out Sea Salt. I switched to Mattress to use Bug Bite, cause I thought with the Tyranitar it's a Dark Fusion, but it turns out this fusion is a Rock Flying. So I use Psychic to get it down. He Braves Birds, which leaves Mattress at 4 HP, but because of the recoil, he takes himself out. He then sends out Dragonair, and I know that Mattress isn't probably going to live and he's probably going to outspeed, so I throw a Sucker Punch just in case. Mattress does some damage before he croaks. I switch to Lamp, which outspeeds with Dragon Claw. He tried to set up on me, so I use another Dragon Claw to take him out. He sends out Kingdra, which I use Giga Drain thinking it's the water type, but it didn't have the water type, so it really didn't do much. He hits with a paralyzing Tri-Attack. I use Dragon Claw, which does a lot of damage, and he uses Recover, but the Paralyze stops me. he uses Dragon Pulse, but I don't have the Dragon typing since Lamp is Grass Flying, but he uses another Tri-Attack, which takes me out. I send out our Demon, which he takes out the Kingdra in a single Dragon Claw. We beat Lance, and he tells us that we're the new champion, but then tells us that Psych, it's someone else that beat him before, so they're the new champion, so we have to fight one more person. Which is honestly kind of messed up, because imagine working for a hard goal that everyone in like the whole region wants to do. It's in the grasp of your hand, but the guy's like, Psych! So we enter the champion room, and none other than our rival is sitting there. My plan is to have every one of our Pokemon take out one of his Pokemon. The battle starts with Seasalt against his Needlebird, which gets taken out in a single Blizzard. I send out Marbles, which he takes out his starter with 2 Lava Plumes and a Burn. I send out Carbon and try to set up a little bit before I take him, but he uses Swagger and the confusion gets me. I send out Burgona, and after a few Earthquakes and him using full restores, we were able to take him out. The next lineup was Mattress against his Magmortar. Psychic does just about half, but Mattress gets one-shotted. I switched to Lamp to Giga Drain, thinking it would be super effective since he's ground, but he's ground fire, which is neutral, so it really didn't do a lot. I switched to Sea Salt for Sir, which takes out the Magmortar, and we switched to Marbles, which takes out his Electrodose with Precipice Blades. With the last Pokemon left blocking our way to becoming the Pokemon Master, I send out Sea Salt since he's been on our team since the start. I thought it'd be fitting to end it with the one we started with. But Sea Salt gets taken out because all the moves we had on him were not effective because of the typing that he had. So I switched to Marble, the hero on our team of the whole run, and he takes him out with a single Dragon Claw. And with that, we're the new champion of the Kanto region. Professor Oak comes out of nowhere and just starts roasting our rival for no reason, saying he'll never be the champion again, while he puts us in the Hall of Fame. We wake up in our bed after spending about 26 hours straight just beating every gym, taking on organizations that even the police couldn't beat the Elite Four, beat the gym leaders, beat the champion, and became the champion. We go to Oak's lab and he asks us if we can go to Johto to help out since there's a strong Pokemon over there, being the experiment Pokemon from Cinnabar, Mewtwo. After declining him 3 times, he wouldn't take no for an answer, so we had to say yes. And he tells us to go take the train from Saffron City to go to Johto. So this is the end of the video. I'm gonna continue the story with the Johto side of things while doing a new challenge for that video. I went to Pokemon Fusions again for Kanto and Johto for 2 more challenges, being, references only and probably something else. I'll try playing other Pokemon fan games in the future, because I enjoyed playing this one. I might try out Flux, Xenoverse, or the other Kanto game, Anil. If you have any suggestions on how I can make these types of videos better or more enjoyable, or even other games I can play, please share it in the comments below. And with that, I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and I just want to thank you for sticking through this. Bye.